The bully slammed him against the wall, laughing loud enough to shake the whole block. "Welcome to my prison, rookie," he sneered. Everyone watched, waiting for the new guy to beg, but he didn't. He just stood there, calm, because the rookie he picked on was the deadliest MMA champion in history. The prison yard buzzed with the usual chaos, the metallic clang of gates, the echo of shouted names, the rhythm of boots against concrete. It was another gray morning at Stone Creek Correctional Facility, a place where hope rusted faster than iron. Among the inmates, one man ruled it all: Marcus Crusher Vance, a towering, tattooed giant. Hood earned his reputation the hard way. Through fear, every newcomer learned his name on the first day, and if they didn't, he made sure they never forgot it that morning. A new transfer arrived. Tall, quiet, skin dark as bronze, eyes steady as stone. His name on the intake sheet, Eli Brooks. He carried himself differently, too straight, too controlled. Like a man who'd been trained to stand firm when others folded on. That alone made Marcus hate him instantly in the cafeteria. The noise was constant. Forks clattering, guards shouting, inmates trading threats and smuggled deals. Eli sat alone at the end of a long table, eating in silence. No eye contact. No words. The other inmates noticed. He didn't move like a criminal. He moved like a soldier. Whispers spread fast. "Who's the new guy?" "Heard he came from max security." "Nah, man. Look at him, too calm." "Maybe military?" Marcus heard every whisper, and it only fueled him. He stood, towering over his crew. "Let's see how calm he stays when I rearrange that face." They laughed. Marcus smiled, the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. He approached Eli's table, the whole cafeteria going silent like an orchestra before the drop. Marcus slammed his tray down, beans splattering across the table. "Well, look at this." Mr. Cool and collected, Eli didn't flinch. He just kept eating. That silence, that refusal to acknowledge him, hit Marcus harder than any insult could have. "You deaf boy?" Marcus growled, slamming his fist against the table. Eli looked up, calm as a monk. "You done?" That one question, soft, steady, was like lighting a fuse. Marcus lunged. Trays crashed. Chairs scraped. The guards shouted, "Break it up!" But they were too far away. Marcus grabbed Eli's collar, and in one impossible second, everything changed. Eli moved like water, smooth, effortless. One twist of the wrist, a shift of his hips, and Marcus hit the floor so hard the sound echoed off the walls. The room froze. Eli stepped back, hands raised in surrender, voice low but clear. "Didn't want to hurt you." The guards rushed in, pinning them both, shouting orders, but every eye in that room was locked on Eli, the quiet man who just dropped Stone Creek's biggest bully without breaking a sweat. By evening, the story had already changed 10 times. He knocked him out cold with one punch. No, bro, he flipped him midair like a ninja. They say he was special forces. Even the guards were whispering, but no one knew the truth that night. As Eli sat in his cell reading an old battered Bible, his cellmate couldn't hold it in any longer. "Man, who are you?" Eli smiled faintly. "Just someone trying to stay out of trouble," but the name stitched faintly on his wristband told a different story. E. Brooks, former light heavyweight champion. 28-2 record. Before the prison walls, before the chains and numbers. Eli Brooks was a legend, an MMA champion who'd risen from the rough streets of Atlanta. Known for his calm, surgical precision inside the cage, commentators used to say, "He fights like he's meditating," but behind the fame was pain. He grew up in poverty, his mother cleaning offices at night. His father gone before he learned to shave. Fighting was his way out tanned for years. It worked, until one night, outside a charity event, a man attacked his wife. Eli stepped in one punch. One fatal mistake. The man died instantly, and though it was ruled self-defense, the man's family had influence. Eli got 10 years. He never fought again, not in the cage. At least, the bully's revenge. Marcus woke up sore and furious. The embarrassment burned hotter than the pain. He swore revenge. Over the next week, he planned it. Whispers, threats, payoffs. Stop by Friday. He'd assembled 5 men, each one eager to earn his favor. In the showers, when Eli was alone, they struck. The first punch hit his ribs. The second missed, but by the third, Eli was no longer standing still. He moved like lightning. Precision over power. Every motion was clean. Controlled a leg sweep here, an elbow there, in under 30 seconds. 5 men lay groaning on the tile floor. Eli stood dripping with water and sweat, breathing slow and steady. Now we're done. The guards burst in, but they were too late again that night. Eli was summoned to the warden's office. The warden, a grizzled veteran named Warden Briggs, leaned forward. "I looked you up," he said quietly. "You were Eli Brooks, the MMA world champion. Why'd you hide that?" Eli shrugged. "Doesn't matter who I was. Not here." Briggs studied him. "You could have killed those men. But you didn't." I nodded. "I've done enough fighting in my life. I just want peace." The warden leaned back. "Peace isn't easy to find in here." Eli smiled faintly. "Then I'll make it." Word spread fast, again, but this time there was no fear, only respect. Eli didn't talk much. He didn't boast. He spent his days reading, teaching younger inmates to train in the yard, showing them discipline over rage. Within months, the violence dropped by half. The guards noticed. So did the warden. Even Marcus, the once terrifying bully, began to change. One afternoon, he approached Eli in the yard, this time with no sneer. "I need to talk," he muttered. Eli looked up from his book. "Go ahead," Marcus's voice cracked. "You didn't have to spare me that day." "Why did you?" Eli's gaze softened. "Because someone once spared me, and I didn't appreciate it until it was too late." Marcus swallowed hard. "Man, I ain't proud of what I did." Eli nodded. "Then do something about it. Help the next man instead." And just like that, the monster of Stone Creek began to rebuild himself. Months later, the warden called a special meeting. An outreach program, Rebuild, was being launched to rehabilitate inmates through structured MMA training, discipline, and mentorship. He asked one man to lead it. Eli Brooks, the same man who once fought for glory, now fought for redemption. Under his guidance, men who'd once lived by violence learned to live with purpose. Marcus became his assistant trainer, teaching the basics to new arrivals. The yard that once echoed with hate now echoed with focus. The sound of gloves hitting pads, of men finding peace through pain. 2 years later, an opportunity came. Early release for good conduct. When the warden broke the news, Eli simply said, "I don't need to leave early. I need to finish what I started." So he stayed. Not as a prisoner, but as a teacher. When journalists later asked Warden Briggs why violence had dropped 80%, he said simply, "Because one man taught them that real strength doesn't come from hurting others. It comes from mastering yourself." Years later, when Eli finally walked out of Stone Creek, the world had forgotten his name, but inside those walls, hundreds remembered him. Some called him Coach. Others called him Brother Eli and Marcus. He walked beside him that day, free at last, no longer the bully, but the man he was meant to be. As they reached the gates, Marcus looked at him and said quietly, "Never thought the deadliest man alive would be the one who saved me." Eli smiled. The fight was never in the cage. It was always in here. He tapped his chest. Eli Brooks's. The story isn't about revenge. It's about redemption, about a man who used to fight for applause, learning to fight for purpose. It's a reminder that real power isn't in domination, it's in restraint. And sometimes the people we call dangerous are the ones who can save us all.